Welcome to episode 12 of Answers with Austin. I am here with my man, Mr. Ennio Emmanuel. He is a community activist, supporter, and just all around badass. Trying to do a whole lot for the state of Delaware.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I greatly appreciate it. So 2020, it's been a crazy year.
Yeah, man, it's been a really wild year.
Especially for you. Everything you've been kind of doing this past year. Kind of give us a rundown, like a 60-second rundown on like what you
you know, coming here, we started with Code Purple. We had this year where we had to raise about, extra money to finance the fact that we don't have all the different help that we had throughout the year. We ended up we bought a new house for rescue mission for people. I didn't mention it to you earlier, but people coming out of domestic violence and human trafficking.
Wow.
We have a new community center being built. We were able to help give out close to 1 million pounds of food this year in the food boxes. Yeah. And so, like hundreds of thousands of meals given out.
Holy cow.
And this year, and another, I'm almost done my real estate license. That's up your alley. And I didn't get COVID, so.
That's a plus.
Yeah. It's a plus. So it's like I run down the top thing of 2020.
It's a good year so far.
Yeah, I haven't got COVID.
That's a pretty good year.
Yes.
So what made you get into I don't know, community service, I guess. Much.
Yeah, well, when I was 12, I went to Ukraine with a church group on a mission. We went to the orphanage. And so from that point on, I really was just touched by the fact that there was, I come from a pretty good household. My father was imprisoned. He had a 60-year sentence, and he met my mom in prison, and she's a doctor. And so she helped him get out of prison. And so my upbringing, my parents, my mom's a doctor, my dad's a businessman, and they're also both pastors. So coming up in that world, you're really pushed to make sure that you're on top of everything. Either you're a doctor or a lawyer. And so when being like 12, I was like 12 or 13, going to Ukraine, I saw there was a whole nother world of other than the United States, where Ukraine at that time was still developing. They were going through a lot of rough times, and so for my eyes, it was just like, oh wow, there's places where like it's ground zero, where it's really bad. And there's still people with joy, and there's still happiness, and there's still culture. There's still things that are lively, and so that made me want to see what else was out there in the world that I could help. So since 12 years old, I was going to Honduras or Haiti or Mexico, Juarez, Mexico, or even like the Dominican Republic. So a whole bunch of different countries, once or twice a year since I was 12. So I'm a lot older than that now. Yeah. So I've been doing a lot, and then. I kept doing different work and community action type of stuff. And when I lived in Los Angeles for about 7 years, and during that time I worked a lot at the Dream Center, which was it's a humongous hospital building where different floors do different types of community service, like for homeless men, homeless women, homeless families, human trafficking. And so I volunteered there for a while, and I really, really liked that concept. And we also had something there called Red Eye, where different people who were in the creative world would get together every Sunday afternoon and do community service. And so that was something that I loved that aspect. So, traveling, doing it locally, it really just made me want to continue doing that. So I've always, anywhere I've lived, I've always tried to make sure I do community work. So I was, out of Delaware. I lived in Delaware I was probably from 6 to 17. And then when I was 17, I moved to Philly. And I interned with a lawyer called Kevon Glickman, and we pretty much helped. I just interned, and we represented like Rick Ross and Trina and Flo Rida and the Fugees and Lauryn Hill. Wow. And so I was interning with him at 17 to 18, and then went to college, and then went to LA, and then ended up moving to Kentucky and West Virginia.
What's giving you all this drive, though? I mean, that's a lot you've done.
I think just wanting to be able to, I'm a big believer, and now more than ever too, for young people, is like, you have to live your life in your 20s. Like, you have to experience life, make all your mistakes. And I think sometimes, but that's not for everyone. I think some people need to settle down at 22 and have 4 kids as well, because that's important. And so I think for me, it was one of those things where I wanted to, excel in school, but I really wanted to also see life. And
kind of knowing yourself, really.
Yeah, and exactly, and to search what drives people, and then in turn what drives me, and I still think that's something I'm learning daily, because sometimes I feel like I'm going after a light at the end of the tunnel that I'll never reach. It's just you just keep going for it, because it's the thrill of each new experience that keeps you going.
Kind of giving you that daily drive almost to again not be stuck in the, oh my God, here we are, what's this, what's that? Because I see a lot of people, they'll focus on, again, that long goal, that 20 years, that 40 years, whatever, 10 years even, and they get so, I don't know, caught in the mundane of everything, and they get so afraid of change or anything challenging. You know, I want to do this. You know, I have a family, be done. But really, there's other stuff they want to explore in their life.
Oh yeah, and life, and you know, you're always developing. You can keep, but you can choose not to develop as well. It's like if you put yourself out there on the line, on the edge of life on a continuous basis, life will answer back to you. And it will give you experience, you know, it will give you an edge back. And so, you know, that ran me, you know, when I came back to Delaware, I was, you know, probably like 5 years ago. And I started volunteering with Code Purple as just at their women and children's site. And then from there, you know, the passion grew and we just kept working a lot with them. And then last summer I ended up becoming president. We have a great board right now. And so it's been crazy.
So what's it like running Code Purple, a huge non-for-profit here in Delaware?
Yeah, I think for us it's a lot of phone calls, a lot of reaching out.
You hit your phone yet?
Yeah, I have two of them.
You got
here.
two phones. Okay,
two of them here and one in the car. So I think it's like learning to. I come from a business background, a kind of creative background with music, and in that world, you know, I used to tour like for 4 years of my life. I toured like doing 80, 90 concerts a year, and you'd have thousands of people and do autographs for hundreds of people at the end. And so that was something that I thought was fulfilling, but then I realized after years of doing it, it wasn't that fulfilling for me.
You had to go into something else.
Yeah, what was more
recognized the change in yourself,
and people were fulfilling. Like, you know, being able to actually have real contact with people, but you know, I grew up in a very religious home, so finding ways that it didn't have to be so religious, but it could still be life-changing. And so Code Purple was one of those avenues for me where it was still connected to churches, it was connected to the community. One aspect that it wasn't connected to so much was the government and like what the governors and like what's the goal of our social services, like what are their goals and how can we match them or exceed them or help them get there. And so that was something that I saw the need, and so when I took over Code Purple, it was about keeping the heart of why we help homeless people during the cold weather, but also finding the gaps in the system that could be fixed, and you know, and then working with people who know how to do it to make it happen.
What's it like trying to operate this non-for-profit right now during COVID?
It was been crazy because usually Code Purple ends at March 31st with the shelter part, and then we start preparing for Code Purple. We start preparing for Firefly. And Code Purple at Firefly. And so this year we were planning on doing like our own music stage for nonprofits.
That's dope.
We were going to have, they were going to create a whole new nonprofit center. And so that was something we had been playing with them since last November. And then when COVID hit around March, that wasn't even a thought. We were just thinking about how can we continue serving people but not getting COVID. And we had to go through that. And then we helped the state. They were working with Lieutenant Governor to get homeless people in hotels during the, when everything was really starting. And so we got about 150 to 200 people that were homeless in hotel rooms here at the Hampton Inn in Milford, and then at the Quality Inn in Georgetown. And so they didn't have anyone to serve them meals. So Code Purple, I'm like, we do meals.
We got this. One-stop shop.
You need meals because they had a meeting, I guess, behind closed doors, with all the people doing it. And Code Purple came up, and then they reached out to us and like, do you want to do the meals? And I was like, sure, we'll do meals. So I was like, we never had done meals before like that. So I have done meals. Like I've had like restaurants and coffee shops in the past, so I kind of knew about food. And
but this was new for you guys.
This was new. This is brand new. Like
it's another new thing that you were just kind of throwing at you guys. Hey, there's COVID. Oh, by the way, now we got to get you guys in hotels. Oh, now we need food.
Yeah, exactly. And so we started delivering the meals, cooking them at a kitchen in Dover, delivering the meals to the hotels every day, and we did that all summer, and that ended up helping us get more partnerships with the food bank and with different nonprofits and giving out food boxes. And so Code Purple's, we changed our mission to just, we do the overnight sheltering, but we also provide food and counseling, and we do help services during a pandemic. And that was something that, we'd never done before, having to do meals during the summertime. Firefly was out the window. So it was just something new. And then from there, we ended up being able to start a food truck And so we have a food truck now. We're just fixing it up now to be more Code Purple-ish.
Yeah.
And so that's gonna be something new next year. You'll see a Code Purple food truck going around feeding homeless people, going to where they're at, like in the tent cities or behind buildings, or wherever they could be, because they I try, if Code Purple's not around with the sheltering, they're in our backyards, and so that's the food truck can help keep everyone at different local places where they can come and eat. And
know about you guys.
And the city doesn't have, it's legal. Everything's legal. I'm not just like peddling food out.
Here's a bunch of food. We did the right way through the books.
Yes.
So it sounds like you, as the president of Code Purple, you've been, I don't know, had so much on your plate this year. Just one thing after another, new challenge. How are you able to kind of balance everything?
I think
schedule, your stress, all that stuff.
I think number one, I take a lot of vitamins. Honestly, I drink a lot of water. I meditate and pray a lot. Those are definitely important. Like having a healthy life, having healthy people around you.
Getting that balance.
Yeah, definitely. Finding. I think for me, I've dealt a lot this year with drug addicts and people who are addicted to alcohol. And for me, I've seen things, things in those people that I say, oh, this is something that I can see different problems now with people who might not be addicted to that, but it can be something in your brain that you have to analyze. And so for me, I'm taking toxic people out of your life is very important.
It is.
I think that's for me, just going through the year. I think how I went into the year. I'm totally 6 months in, my things changed. And part of that was also getting rid of toxic people.
I truly believe the 5 people that you have around you, they are a direct reflection of who you are, and you absorb who they are. I've seen it personally with my friends and family, the people that I associate just strictly even with work. I pick up to their characteristics and they pick up to mine. You don't even notice it, and then you're a month later, you're like, oh, I'm doing this now, and they do that.
And where you spend your money too, who you spend your money on, where you spend your money, what you're invested in time-wise, money-wise, is all things I think me analyzing all of those aspects more have helped keep me grounded. And, in this year, and on top of trying not to get COVID.
On top of that,
on top of the, as you're doing all these things, you're like, I cannot get sick, and so I'm managing all that. But I think the biggest thing is taking out toxic people, staying very healthy, taking all the vitamins that you need to take, consult a doctor, and being able to focus where I put my time and energy and my money. Making sure those are all smart.
So with 2021 coming right around the bend, what kind of things do Code Purple have planned?
So we're going to continue doing the sheltering until March 31st. We don't really know about Firefly yet, how it's going to go in June. So we'll probably just plan to continue to do what we did this year, which is, after Code Purple's done, we will still maintain contact with all the homeless people, doing feedings, having our food truck out. Because even though we might not be doing the overnight, which you never know, because we're working with people's church right now, they're the community center, and part of that expansion is to hopefully have an actual beds, like a shelter.
That's awesome.
So that's something that we're going to grow towards, and we're going to we're looking for property as well to get to maybe build something in the future that's cool. That could work out in like a village type setting. We're it's open because now I think I see the need, so as we see the need, you have to fulfill it.
You found a drive now.
You
found a why almost. That's your this is my baby, and I want to carry it forward and build it into something.
And I'm always open. I'm always open to other people's ideas. I think letting working with some new people in that board, Tag Unlimited, that help open my eyes to, okay, maybe we can help get funds or people or time and energy into outpatient centers for people addicted to drugs. Working with the government to try to find out, they really need help in the realm of reaching the community and how to impact the community in a more, and people who they might not reach, Spanish people, Haitian people also, so not everything is in Spanish or Haitian, but they're homeless too.
100%.
And then also, helping low-income families. I think working to have centers where the government has their part, but the community has to do their part as well. Because the government can only do so much. They're bound by different laws. They're bound by different, they can't do certain things because it's just not it's not covered by their insurance.
Well, even their understanding, and I've noticed this firsthand being in real estate, DISH at the State Housing Authority, they do a whole lot of education in terms of different services that they provide. But I can tell you right now, I personally, as a realtor, through DMs in my Facebook and my Instagram, I've talked to people and directed them to services that Disha provides, that they put out there, but it's not reaching these individuals for one reason or another, whether it's because of social media marketing, they're not doing it, they don't know how to reach specific people for some reason. But even stuff like that, it's insane. The services are there, but they don't know what they need to do to go and get them.
Yeah, and that's why it takes people in the community to reach out, to do a little bit extra, to get all that information out there, or to do it differently. At the end of the day, too, it's like if something's not working, we have to fix it. If something is working, keep it going. And that's why I think, and that's why I encourage young people to get involved. It can be seen sometimes mundane or boring to get involved in certain aspects of government or in nonprofit world especially. But it can be super rewarding because the people that you impact now, they are going to be there 20, 30 years from now. And then you'll be able to see what you did in the community for time to come, and your children and your generations will see it. And I think we don't think about that legacy that we leave too much. And I'm not big on it either. I still think I live my life day to day. I plan. I used to be a planner, like 5-10 year plan, but I think that can work for some seasons in your life. But I think in my season right now, I'm like, what's happening today? How can I make today the best day that it needs to be? And in that, you can find some exciting, for young people to get involved. They can be, they're the future. And
100%.
Yeah, and so I want to be part of the future. And not the past, and I want to be part of the change, no matter if I'm in Delaware or wherever I am. And I think that's something I've realized, and that's another thing that just pushes me. It's just making sure that I'm on the right side of history at all times, but also that I'm leaving a legacy that when I look back, I'll be able to have markers. And that we did some really crazy things. And 2020 was a year of that for me. I was like, what? If 2020 is happening the way it is, I want to make it a year when I look back, I have not just pictures or not just some words, but it's like really ingrained memories in my brain of things that went really well. And hard times, good times, as there's some hard times as well. There's deaths. We've had some of the homeless people and people that have passed away. Due to alcohol, due to COVID. And so, you have down times, but then you have really good times. Last night we were at the men's shelter, and I had a guy, he came in, he was a little tipsy. He came in and he was with a friend of his, and they had driven. And he was like, I'm just coming in to tell you that I have a house and I have a job, and he was like, and it's because of you and all your friends and helping me with Code Purple. And so that was in my mind. I'm like, you're really tipsy right now, buddy. I know you're excited, but why are you drinking? But in my mind, it also was like, okay, well, feel still good.
Positive. He did some positive things.
Oh yeah, he was excited. He was having a good old time, and that's something that I like. And for me, it's something that the only time I was ever homeless, I was in LA living in couches for like 2 weeks because I was with a management team, and it was like this lady was trying to make us like a little money. With like Lil Wayne, Young Money, not Lil Money, Young Money, Lil Money, Young Money, and she was trying to make a group, and I was a Spanish singer at the time, and I went to Honduras on a mission trip, and I came back, and she had gotten mad at all the guys on the group, and so she threw all of our stuff in the yard. Oh, wow. And so I was homeless for about 2 weeks, and that's when I got really close to the Dream Center because I actually stayed there. And but I've never experienced homelessness like some of these people have experienced homelessness, where they've been homeless for years. Like the same guys that were there last year, a lot of them are still here this year, and that worries me a lot. Like, how can someone be homeless that long? But I also realize that it's a lifestyle that they have, and I'm better off learning how they're there, what is getting them there,
why they're stuck in there, that mentality.
And instead of judging them or thinking that I know life better than them, because some of them are very happy, like the guy, he's a very happy guy with his house and he has a job now, and but he was still a happy guy when he was homeless too. He just has more now, but he's still the same person. And so it's like it's like one of those things that we help people grow, but who their soul, what's in their soul, is usually always the same. And that's and so, just going about life, seeing people for their true selves, and trying to find out what that is in the midst of everything.
So with that in mind, obviously that's a crap ton of advice right there. It's a lot, but it's a good thing. With you wanting to make a large impact with the younger generation, bring them into this type of field. If there was one piece of advice you wanted to give a young entrepreneur, a young service leader, somebody that wanted to make an impact that is young, what would that one piece of advice be?
One piece of advice, I would say to set humongous goals early. I would say try to get all your big goals done as quick as possible.
Okay.
And you and just do that very early on. You know, when I went to high school, I tried to do hard. I mean, I had a small high school, but I was valedictorian of the high school, and I thought that was cool. And I set that big goal, and it really wasn't that much big of a deal. And then I got into college, went to Penn State, and graduated with a high GPA, and I thought that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a big deal. But if I wouldn't have set those goals, I wouldn't have also, you know, done some of the other things I did.
Down where you are today.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
They're like Lego blocks almost.
They really are. I always tell everyone life is like a video game, you know, and you're just playing and you're doing different levels and you're getting points and you're battling different, you know, enemies, and so you have to go. But it's easy, you know. A lot of people finish the game, and so life is like a lot of games, not just one game. It's like people finish games in one night.
There's
sometimes
multiple levels.
Yeah,
and
same thing.
games,
Or you
different
binge
things
watch
to
a
do.
TV show. There's a lot of TV shows.
Don't get stuck in that mundane almost.
Yeah, and always, life and be excited. A lot of times people look at their life and they say, "Oh, this is all it's going to be," wherever they're at. And I think, and that's okay, because the thing is too is like some people, like there's Amish people out there who live with no electricity and they're happy. Maybe I don't know if I could be, but they might be happy. They are happy.
I think no matter the situation, almost accepting change as being okay, and not saying, you know, going from electricity to no electricity, or from not having electricity to having electricity. I can't talk today. What's it? Confusing. Yeah, something like that. But going polar opposite. But even, you know, maybe it's doing a new business angle. Maybe it's doing something different, challenging, waking up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym.
Waking
something
up earlier.
crazy. Just challenging yourself, accepting the challenge in the first place.
And doing it early on. Like just not thinking that you can't have power at a young age. I think a lot of people are taught, especially as kids, like, if every kid could be assured that they had really good parents that wouldn't steal all the money, I would tell them, you know, try to make money when you're like 5. Like, you know, don't think that you should be making money at 18. Like, try to make a lot of money at 12. Like, I was working at an office at 8. Like, I was answering phones. I had an icy stand on 4th Street in Wilmington at 9. And so I would make money. My dad took some of my money. You know, he said it was part of rent.
Share a little bit.
But I had that business mentality, and I used to think it was, you know, for whatever. It's just something I guess I grew up always thinking about. But I think if everyone just, you know, if young people realize they have if I would have known I had more power actually at a younger age, I think I would even be further along in some of my goals. So I tell that to myself. Myself, even now, I did not take as much initiative as I should have. I need to. If I should have taken more.
It's 2020.
Yeah. It's okay. Yeah. And then but also not being scared for change. Like one of the reasons why I moved from LA was because, you know, Japan had something, you know, one of the nuclear plants had exploded. Yeah. So I was like, there's going to definitely be radiation coming here. They're talking about there's going to be a big earthquake. Yeah. And so I left LA, you know, 5-6 years ago because I felt in my, you know, I had to make a decision.
There was a need for change.
Yeah. I was like, something's going to happen. And now something happened. And a lot of people that I know that I'm close to are leaving California. Yeah. And so it's one of those things that's like, you know, listen to that voice in your head, you know, unless it's too crazy.
And
unless it's crazy.
But imagine if you hadn't, you wouldn't be here in Delaware now running Code Purple.
Yeah,
the impact you have now.
I would not. I'd probably be in LA doing something probably similar, but, you know, dealing with the fact that there's fires and that, you know, even in Delaware, we're a little bit strict with some of our mandates, but California is way more stricter. So what if I would have had businesses there? It would have been, you know, not to hurt any of the people that are there because there's a lot of people that are struggling, but you know that was something that I had a decision I made
for yourself,
for myself,
not anybody else, not
for anyone
to make
else.
Mom, dad, cousin, friend, family, best friend, you know, employer happy, to make you happy.
Yeah, and I like Delaware. Delaware has a lot to offer in the sense that it has a lot of different cultures, a lot of different influences. You know, it's really great to be in Delaware and not have to worry about traffic, something that might, you know, change in the future. Yeah. And so, you know, being in a place like this, you know, finding also a place that makes you breathe, a place that makes you be able to think is important. Do I go outside sometimes and wish I could see palm trees? Because I love palm trees. I love mountains. I love hiking. Yes, but
not too far at least.
Yeah, not that far. Pennsylvania, Virginia. But I think too, it's just, you know, I'm not worried because I traveled in my 20s. I did a lot of things, you know, make sure I went and saw all those mountains.
You got to explore, you got to see. Yeah. You didn't feel trapped or held back. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. But now what I feel like I got to give back. You know, so I think you have to also balance yourself out. You can have a lot, you can get a lot from life and you can keep getting. Yeah. But at some point you should give back.
Yeah. I mean, you reap what you sow at the end of the day. And, you know, at the end of at the end of the day, too, you know, whether you're in Delaware or LA, America to England, Caucasian, black, male, female, whatever, we're still a community at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
We're all still human. Mm-hmm. We still all have to help and support one another in order for, even individually, for us to continue move forward. Yeah. So why not? Now, again, you know, for some people, obviously, sometimes it may be hard to have that mentality, or maybe they have their own struggles for that to happen.
Only usually because they're not shown.
Exactly.
I think a lot of people just aren't shown how to reach out to the community, and some people feel that the community should have reached out to them when they were younger, or when they were poor, or when they needed help. And because no one reached out to them, they don't care. You know, they don't care to help anyone. So that is something too that, you know, you have to be wise to know when you encounter those people that they're coming from a broken place, and that can be adults, not just young people.
Adults, children, all around. It requires a level of empathy to understand and have that perspective. You know, and I think, you know, an individual like you, for instance, the position you're in, you are very empathetic towards most people, because you never know what somebody's going through or what they went through. Whether today's been the worst day of their life or it's the best day, you know. They flicked you off while driving down the street. Okay, cool.
Is that what you
happens. Did? I mean, saw you drive by and be like, that guy right there.
That guy.
Yeah. But you just don't know. You really don't
That's why I drive the cool purple bus. They can't be me.
You can't. Be like, wait, that.
Well, I'll get all the homeless people on you.
God, don't shock me. No lightning, right? Yeah.
Don't do it.
No. But I appreciate my man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Having me so much.
Hopefully we can help spread the message, everything you're doing, especially with Code Purple.
Oh, yes.
If anybody is interested about Code Purple, any of the community projects that he has going on, please follow my man, Mr. Ennio Emmanuel. He is awesome.
Awesome.
Please, come on, keep on kicking butt, make 2021 the year, and
Let's do it,
obviously
man.
get back.
Whoosh.
Thank you.